Okay, welcome to the Karen Mitches podcast. Today I have James Cummins.
Hello, so happy to be here, Karen. Wow, I've seen the show before, and I'm excited to be on it.
Thanks. I'm excited to have you on. Can I get you to pull this down a bit?
Yep.
Sorry, I should have mentioned that. So how is your weekend going?
My weekend is going all right. I had to work a little cash job this morning because comedy don't pay enough, but but you know, you got to do what you got to do, and now we're on to the pursuing the dream, being a guest on people's podcasts, doing comedy at night. The hard labor is over, and it's time to go chase that dream.
Are you mostly full-time comedy?
The last 2 years is like the first time where I started making majority of my money in comedy, but definitely not enough to like pay all my bills. Like I still have to have cash jobs on the side for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But what was it like? Like, can you tell me at all? Because you're like 7 years in. Yeah,
I'm going on eight. So it'll be 8 this August.
James turns 8 this August.
Yeah, hell
James's comedy career.
It's my. I guess it's, if you go by months, it's my comedy champagne birthday because I'll be 8th month of the year turning 8.
Aw.
What was your question though?
Like, what's it like getting to that point?
Getting to the point where you can make money doing comedy.
Yeah.
I mean, I still haven't like fulfilled it all the way, but the first year where I started touring, the only way that I know to make good money or decent money in Canada doing comedy is to tour like all the time. So there was the first year that I went on like 2 tours with Triple Decker Comedy. That's me, Himanshu Patel, Dave Luca. We went around the East Coast, and then we went to Newfoundland on another one, and then I went with a boss on his tour. So I did like, I would say 6 months of the year I was touring, so enough to like, you know, make a decent little chunk of change. And getting to that point was just getting to the point where you feel comfortable doing enough time on the road that when people come out and see you, they go home feeling like they had a good night. You don't want to go out and have people come see you and be like, I don't want to ever see that guy again, you know?
Yeah, so, yeah. You can't be an amateur when you're doing it.
I mean, people take risks and they do their thing, and I'm not going to knock it. But like me personally, like I waited till I felt like I was comfortable doing the time on the road, you know?
Yeah. Okay, so I know Dave Luca, and I know, who else did you say? A boss. Like, what are those guys like to be on tour with?
Oh, it was great. The first one we did, Triple Decker Comedy, was me, Dave Luca, Himanshu. We had been like, we've done shows together in the city, and I've been on the road once with Himanshu. So like, we kind of formulated around with guys that were all about the same level. We all want to have a chance to, you know, headline, but also like we'll take turns. Like we didn't have any like ego about it. Like everyone did a different order every night, and then good guys to be on the road with. Like if you're gonna go on the road with people, I would say make sure they're people that you're down to spend 5 hours in a car with. We were doing like 5 to 8 hours of driving every day, going to the next city, doing another show. So like that part is important too, to make sure you're gonna like enjoy the ride and not want to kill each other on the road.
Yeah. So I imagine being on the road is like very fun.
It was very fun. It was like very fun.
With comedians.
Time of my life. And these guys both one has a family, one had a girlfriend at the time, and me, I didn't have anything back home. So me, I'm like, I never want to go home. They had stuff to miss at home. I'm like, this is what I just want to live like this. When you just go to a show at night, go back to the hotel, drive on to the next city, do it all again the next day. You know what I mean? Have some fun after the show. It was great. It was so much fun.
Living the dream.
It was honestly living my dream, at least. Like, I would love to be a touring comedian, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. That's what I think. If you don't like, I think some people don't get that part, and it'll be where they end their career.
Well, some people never want to leave the city. Some people just want to be like king of Toronto, and like that's fine. Like if you just want to be like hot shit in town, which is like cool for you. I love doing shows on the road. Like from the time I started, like I not that I was like doing long sets on the road, but I love going to new cities. Like even if it was just like a Hamilton or Oshawa, just like the outside cities. And if you're not doing that early in the game as a comedian, like you should. If you really want to be, if you want to just do Toronto open mics and like have it be like a social thing, like that's fine too. But if you want to do comedy, don't just do it in one city. Go figure out like what other cities are like too.
That's what I need to start doing. I think because I don't have a car, I'm like, oh, I can't do that. But I can get places on the GO train.
You can get places on the GO train. You can also find out if somebody's going to like, let's say like Hamilton's comedy club, Levity, Sick Club, they have an open mic once a week on Wednesdays. And I'm sure
There's
at least
always
one person from
people-
Toronto is going.
Because you always see it on people's socials,
Yeah.
right? Like after the fact. So I can find out ahead.
That's what you got to do. Plan it out with somebody that's gone there before. If you see their name on it, be like, are you going next month? I want to come too. You know?
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, so when you got started, did that come out of nowhere? Was it a lifelong dream?
It wasn't a lifelong dream. I did make, okay, so in 2012, I made a New Year's resolution to try comedy. Then I never did. And then in 2017, I had a couple of years of like being depressed and like not liking where my life was and like really sad. Not that I was going to kill myself, but I was like, man, life's going to be so long. Like I was like,
Oh shit.
I was like, I have to do this for so long.
If you have the thought,
Yeah.
life's gonna be so long.
That's how I was feeling. So one day I got down on my knees and I asked God for help. And I'm not a religious person, but I'm like, I got down on my knees. I said, God, I need a new path in life.
Yeah.
And 2 days later, I ran into a friend. I was living in Brampton at the time. Ran into a friend that's like, there's a comedy club in Brampton. You should come check it out. I went, and the first time I got on stage, I did really good. And I was like, this is the new path. I'm like, this is it.
That's
So
crazy.
I really feel like, I mean, if you're an atheist out there listening to this, like I'm not trying to convince you to believe in God. You
Yeah.
can say it was the universe. I manifested it, whatever you want to call it. I give a shout out to God for it because I asked God for help and I got help. You know?
I love that.
Yeah, it's really cool.
That's beautiful.
And that place in Brampton, like the first like that was the only place I did comedy for like the first month and a half, and every time I did really good. So
Yeah.
I'm like, am I the chosen one of comedy? Then I went to like another bar and just bombed my ass off and realized I was just in a place where like people liked me for the first couple of times, and then I went in front of a whole group of strangers and they're like, we don't like you. So then I realized the magic of bombing.
Yeah.
Which is something that everyone should be doing. You should be learning how to bomb, and it's so important. And if you do kill 10 times in a row and you're new and you start feeling yourself too hard, go bomb somewhere. Go to a place where people, like say you're doing good in like an urban room. Like I was doing good in like a young urban room smoking weed. Like it was a weed smoking place. And I was very comfortable there. Then I went to a bar with like more older, mature, not like just old stuffy white people.
Yeah.
And they didn't like the same stuff that I was doing there. So if you're killing so often that you're feeling yourself too hard, you shouldn't be feeling yourself too hard. You should hate yourself some nights in comedy. It's part of it. So I don't know how consistently you're doing good, Karen, but if you do good too many times in a row, go bomb somewhere. That's my advice.
I did just bomb recently and I felt fucking shitty about it.
Yeah.
So
You're supposed to.
that
But it
was
also
good.
like you learn, right? You learn like if you do good all the time, like it's fun, but you don't learn as much as you do when you bomb.
So this was the thing too, like I did poorly and I was with a friend who this was like one of her first mics, right? And I was thinking like it's okay for her because it's like a tough room and she got up on the stage and it is fine if she doesn't do well in a tough room.
Right.
Or a room that was tough for her and I.
Yes.
But it was like I feel like I'm far enough into it that I should be able to turn I think the audience was tired. They'd seen too many people.
Right.
So it's not that they can't laugh. It's harder to make them laugh. And I'm far enough along I should be able to like make them laugh anyway.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to put that on yourself, then like it is good. Like sometimes I if I'm in a room and I see like everyone's having a tough time and it's like shit, I do get kind of excited where I'm like, can I turn them all around? Can I be the one? And like there is some nights where I am, but there's some nights where I'm like I go up and I suck too, and I'm like, all right, well, just tough night.
I think I just have like I have my sets and I only know how to just kind of do them. Like I'm not like present enough and like maybe like game enough to be like, because I watched other people do badly and I just sort of walked up there like not even thinking like, oh, I'm gonna do badly too.
Right.
And then I was like feeling it being shitty and I was just like, I don't know how to adjust.
So when you're doing bad, you just keep doing the next joke. You go like that, like you just keep the set going as if you're doing
Like I'm trying to think. Yeah. Like I don't know how to, and I know other people will start kind of like making fun of the audience and talking about how weird the room is. And I don't know what to say. Like, cause that's like my thing in life. Like if we're talking at a party and you seem like you don't like me, I'll just like go talk to someone else.
Yeah, I mean, be your natural funny self in that way, like that. Like, however, instead of going right on to the next joke, just maybe say what you're feeling and see how that goes. Like, if your feeling is like, I should go talk to somebody else, like maybe say that to the crowd. Like, can I go talk to somebody else right now? Because that is a funny thing that we've all felt. Like, if you're in a conversation that you don't want to be in, you're like, can I just go talk to someone else?
Yes.
You know, I know the feeling for sure. But sometimes if you're having a tough set, I would say instead of just doing jokes that you've felt worked before or is like your regular go-to stuff, like, yeah, it is your chance to be present and just talk about how bad that set's feeling, and maybe you'll get a laugh that way. I didn't come here to give advice. I'm not an expert or anything.
I do kind of like when I have people who are farther along to like find out a bit.
Right. Yeah. My only advice to new comics is just do tons of comedy. Just do comedy as much as you can, and then the rest will kind of figure itself out. But yeah,
like going to the gym. Like whatever.
Like anything in life.
Go there.
Practice makes perfect. That's what they say. Do you go to the gym?
I run and then I do yoga at a studio.
Okay, nice. Is it expensive?
It's bad. Yeah. Like I still do this thing with yoga where I buy like 20 class passes, but like, so that brings it down a bit. But in the past I would sometimes have like a monthly membership, but now it's like I just try almost not to do too much, and that's how I save money.
Okay.
Like I feel like I can't find a way to work out affordably anymore, other than to increase the running, which is free.
Yeah, I have like a pass for Planet Fitness, which I should use more, but it's not a great gym, but it is cheap.
Yeah.
And it has saved me some days where I'm like going from work to do comedy and I don't have time to stop home, so I just stop into Planet Fitness and get a shower. I go to the dollar store, buy a new shirt. Like real thrift and
I love that.
Yeah, sometimes you just got to get it done.
That's some ingenuity.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think most comedians do or don't work out?
Oh man, I honestly think it's pretty 50-50, because there's some comedians that are like workout nuts, and then there's some that are just slobs, and I'm right in the middle.
Yeah.
I think more and more there's comedians that are in good shape. You know?
Yeah.
I think
I feel like in the past, and I mean like 20 years ago, like you could only be an out of shape dude to do comedy. Like that was who everyone was.
Yeah, there wasn't a lot of like jacked guys.
Yeah.
I mean, there isn't that many now, to be honest, that are killing it. I think when you're in too good a shape, like, I don't know have you ever seen the movie Down to Earth?
No.
So Chris Rock, he dies in a car accident, and he's a comedian, and he has to, but they took him before he was supposed to go. Like, he gets to heaven, and they're like, oh shit, we made a mistake. So then they're going to put him in a new body, but he wants to still be funny. So they're testing out new bodies, and like, he goes to one body that's like just a jacked guy, and he's like, I can't be funny if I look like I can beat everyone up. And it's kind of true. Like, you don't know, I haven't seen that many guys that are killing it that are in great shape. Like Matt Rife, I guess, he, hot boy comedian.
Yeah.
But I can't think of any others off the top of my head right now that are just like jacked and hilarious. There's something about being a little relatable to the common man.
Yeah.
That, yeah.
I do think there is something also, I think if you were jacked and then you start touring for most of your year, it's going to ruin, maybe not a jacked guy, but I just think everyone is like fatter than they were when they started.
Yeah, and being fat is funny. There's certain jokes that I have like about being fat, and like when I start losing weight, I'm like, oh, these don't hit the same, because people are looking at me like, you're not even fat. Like,
yeah.
I'm kind of fat right now, but last year I lost 25 pounds to start the year.
Nice.
And then I put it all back on, but when I was doing my same jokes about being fat, like people looking at me like, this is bullshit. This guy's not fat. Who's he talking to right now?
Yeah. That's actually interesting, because there's a few people in the scene I like who are fat and who do fat jokes. But what's going to happen when everyone goes on Ozempic?
There's people that are fat that are doing fat jokes. Name your top 3 fat comedians in the scene right now.
Jacob Silva.
Nice.
Ryan Durgee.
Nice.
I think that's it
that
I can think of.
Ryan Durgee's funny. The first time I met him was at Keenan, the Keenan Comedy Fest, and I think he was like only like a month into comedy at that point. And he came up to me and he's like, he's like, what do you have jokes about? I'm like, I don't know. What do you have jokes about? He's like, I don't know, about being fat and gay. And I'm like, well, classic stuff right there. I already know you're going to kill it tonight. No, everyone loves that stuff. And he did a great job being fat and gay.
He's also like a theater kid. So I think there's some of the stage presence and the projection that like he's already brought that from his previous life.
Yeah. Did you have a previous life that you brought any skills from?
I did some like improv stuff when I was a kid. I was also always somebody who like talked in class.
Okay.
Like in growing up and even like in university, I just like, I think that's how I stay present. Like I like hearing myself talk.
Fair.
So I think that's always been with me. And I've been like silly my whole life.
Okay.
So that helped.
Were you a bad kid? Like, did the teachers not like you?
I got sent out in the hall a lot, especially for a girl. But I wasn't like a rude kid. I was just silly.
True. I had a lot of my younger teachers, when I was like grade 2, 4, 5, like they didn't like me. One of my teachers, I had the same teacher twice in grade 2 and 4. And she tried to get me put in like the slow class.
Oh, shit.
She actually like made me do these tests. And I think I didn't pass the test, but my mom was just like, no, I'm keeping him in the regular class. I want him to be with his friends.
Yeah.
But now I just like can't read good.
Sorry.
But like I'm glad I guess my mom made that choice, like because I think about all my friends that I have from elementary school, and like a lot of them are still my friends, and none of them are friends with any of the kids in the soul class. So maybe they would have just left me behind if I switched classes. I was a weird kid though. Like I talked a lot, couldn't pay attention, but also I couldn't sit down in class. I would be standing at my desk. And
shit.
And some teachers, it would drive them nuts. They'd be like, sit down.
ADHD.
Definitely.
I think I had the daydreamy kind, so no one like, I didn't get in trouble as much as some kids, but I just wasn't listening. I just had little stories in my head all day. And I think like, there's just so many girls who are like that. No one identifies it. And then you sort of do unevenly in school. Like you'll ace your English classes and then like fail anything where you have to do homework regularly, but then you get by in summer school. So it's like a weird...
Yeah, I've been watching Love on the Spectrum, and they talk about how for guys on the spectrum, I mean, whatever the test they do on kids, it's all geared towards what a man is like on the spectrum. So girls, it's harder to identify if they're on the spectrum or not, or whatever learning disability. But I wonder, like, what is so manly about like being on the spectrum? Like, what is it? I don't get it. So
what I think with like boys with autism is a lot of the time, or it's girls with autism, a lot of the time they're the things they get focused on can be social and can cause them to be good at masking. So they might be obsessed with social situations and other girls and sort of mapping out how everything works, or playing dolls or playing house, or like even like one of my guy friends I think is autistic, and he's as a kid was obsessed with mythology, and I think that helped him mask because it helped him understand social dynamics. But most boys obsess with trains, and so they're really slow to read, and so then there's just this like obvious personality that takes shape, like the trains and the math without the reading and the social skills.
Yeah, I can't do math or read, so I don't know if I'm autistic. I just think I'm just ADHD and a little stupid.
But no, I think there could also be dyslexia, which is really common in boys.
Definitely.
And I think some of the boys in my family, like it's like there's lots of ADHD in the family, and then there's also this one type of dyslexia that tends to pair commonly with ADHD. But even some of the girls in my family have dyslexia.
Do you have a big family?
Yeah.
How many brothers and sisters?
Well, I'm one of 4 siblings, and then we grew up in the same neighborhood with a lot of my cousins.
Okay.
So when I was in high school, I was like the 9th kid to come through.
9th one of the Mitches?
Yeah.
Are they all Mitches?
Yeah.
Is that your real last name?
Yeah.
What is that?
It's from a Greek last name that I literally can't pronounce. It's not really long. It's 2 syllables, but it has like a throat sound.
You can't pronounce your own last name?
Mitches. And usually it gets corrupted to like Mitsis. But I think my grandfather didn't like his cousin, so he did a more anglicized version of the name. So we don't. If you have the name Mitches, you're my cousin.
Damn. Okay. You guys just made your own last name. That's fun.
What's your Irish?
Irish, yeah. Did you know just by looking at me, or have I said it before? I don't know.
I don't. It seems. I was like Irish or Scottish, and you're wearing green, so
you're wearing green too. We're kind of. Matching, at least this one part of the green. Yeah.
Nice. Do you have a big family?
No, just one sister. And then I have like cousins and stuff, but overall pretty small family, I'd say. Yeah. Yeah.
Are you into being Irish?
Oh yeah, definitely. I was raised with a lot of Irish pride, a lot of dislike for the Queen and the monarchy.
Nice.
Yeah, definitely love the Irish for sure.
Have you been?
Yeah, I've been a bunch of times. I've done comedy over there a couple times. I would love to get to the point where I actually have a big enough following to justify doing an Irish tour every year.
Yeah.
I've gone to just do like mics and shows, whatever, but it's really fun out there. And I actually have more cousins in Ireland than I do in Canada.
That's amazing.
Like so it's fun to get together with them over there.
What was it like getting up in front of an Irish audience?
The first time was so fun and so good. I had such a good set that this was when I was only a year into comedy too. I did so good that the guy that was running the show was like, he took pictures of me like when I wasn't even looking and put it on Facebook the next day, like, look who stopped in. Like, they thought I was somebody. Anyways, the next time I go back, years later, when I think I'm better at comedy, and I'm sitting there being like, smashed it here last time, can't wait to go smash again. And I went up and I'm not gonna say I bombed, but I had a pretty like mid set. Like, I definitely didn't smash. And in my head, it was feeling bad because I'm like, I'm not smashing right now. I thought I was gonna smash.
Aww.
You know? So what is it like performing in front of Irish crowd? It was the damn same as it is over here. Sometimes you smash, sometimes you just do mid, sometimes you bomb. It was exciting, and I had like family there, so I wanted to do good and everything. But other than that, it's same shit. Like, they speak English. It was actually a very one of the shows was like very like touristy crowd. Like, there was like Germans there, Americans there, and then one of the crowds was like very, very Irish. So different. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like Ireland just seems like a place that like I associate with stand up, and like
they had great comics there. Great, yeah. Because I did shows one time I went there and I went to London. And in London, like, it had cool shows and all, but I mean, I'm a little biased because I'm Irish, but when I was in Ireland, I felt like the comics were better. I felt like the Irish comics were like really good. Like, I saw some guys that were like killers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess England is another place that is really good for stand up though.
I think so. They have some notable guys, you know.
And a lot of Canadians who like got their career going in England. Like, they were able to tour a lot there. Yeah,
well, it's easier to get your working visa or whatever it is over there than it is America. So if you can't get into America, you go over there. Like Kyle Lucy, he went over there, and I think he's doing pretty good over there. Did you have him on your podcast too?
I haven't. I really want him on my podcast.
I thought I saw him on.
When you see Kyle, tell him to come on my podcast.
Well, I think he just went back to England now. So
yeah, he'll be back again.
He'll be back again. Next time he's coming back, this podcast will be blowing up, and he'll be asking you to be on the podcast. You'll say, I don't know. I'll see if I can make time for you.
Do you have plans to try to get into the U.S.?
I would like to. My thoughts on it are, I see people go over, and the ones that I'm like, I would like to do what they're doing is guys that went over when they already have a following. So it's like, you can justify being able to, you know, sell your own shows there and
yeah,
do your own touring and everything, because I don't want to go over there and just be like hustling open mics.
Yeah.
I want to go over when I'm actually like established enough to justify being there as a career move, not as I want to go hit up the open mic circuit.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm just going to keep doing my best over here and try and build a following over here. It's slow and steady for me. I haven't found anything to go viral or anything yet, but I do feel like I'm on the right path. It's just a long ass path.
Yeah, I feel that too. And I think it's fun sometimes just to go do a weekend in a city and do their mics and have that. Yeah. But yeah, it's like you do have to sort of just like make a name for yourself.
Yeah. Either way, no matter where you are, you have to build your own brand. And that's the thing. Unless you just, I guess you could just get in with a comedy club and just let them do all the booking for you and just be a name that no one ever heard of. But like,
yeah,
I think the goal of everyone should be to build your own brand and try to justify being able to sell your own tours and everything. Like that's my goal. I don't know why. I don't know. Yeah. It doesn't have to be everyone's goal, but
but I think that makes sense. Like everyone is their own business and you gotta like promote yourself.
Yeah.
Which is hard.
You got to come on the Karen Mitches podcast, and
this is where it all begins.
This is it. These are the stops you got to make along the way.
I want to be known as the most vicious gatekeeper in Toronto comedy.
What the hell? That's what you want? You have your own show, right? Have you had to lock anyone out of the gate of the Karen Mitches bitches?
Actually, I just did the last of my show. So I was doing a monthly.
Okay.
Funny Bitches with Karen Mitches.
That's what it was. Okay.
But I was not good at promoting it.
Yeah, producing sucks.
And so now I'm kind of like putting that to rest. But it was really fun, like when I was successful at it.
You had some successful ones?
Yeah. I had some good shows, but
was it like your friends and family coming out and supporting? Or
I want to say the majority of the audience would be like my friends and family. And then you kind of tap that out. And I just didn't, like I would advertise it and I try to get the comedians to bring their people, but I just like I don't think I had the hustle that some people have.
Some people love producing, and they're really good at it, and good for them. I was never good at producing.
Did you have some attempts?
Oh yeah, so when I was like a year in, I started a mic in Brampton or a show. I started a show in Brampton, and the first one, everyone I ever knew from high school and family members, they all came out. And probably had about like 70 people there. It was great.
That's amazing.
And then the second one had like 45 people there. And then everyone after that had about like 5 to 20 people at best. You know what I mean? Some weeks was bad, some weeks was good. But I kept it going up until the pandemic. And then the pandemic closed that down. And then when I wanted to bring it back, the bar didn't want it back. I'm like, whatever. Then me and Angelica Scanora, we did our rooftop comedy thing during the pandemic, which was great.
Amazing. I like her a lot. She's coming on.
Oh, she's great. Yeah, shout out Angelica. Love her. One of my first best friends in comedy. We both started around the same time, so it was really cool like to see her killing it right now too.
Yeah.
Yeah, so me and her, we did this rooftop comedy show, which the first year when everything else was locked down was amazing because everyone was looking for something to do. It was like a little speakeasy type vibe. Like you got the address when you bought the ticket kind of thing.
Downtown?
It was like Stockyards area. I can't release the location.
Okay.
Even though it's not, it doesn't exist anymore. But basically, we ran that for the first year. We used to do them every weekend, but then pandemic closed. So then we would run it like once a month, and now we don't do them anymore just because like the building that we used to do it at, they had problems. We couldn't do it anymore. Ever since then, though, I don't produce shit because one thing about when you produce a hot show, and that was a hot show, people wanted to be on that show. If you don't put everyone on, which you can't, the last year we only did 3 shows the whole year, and people were mad at me for not putting them on. I'm like, we have like 6 spots for the whole summer. Like,
yeah.
What am I supposed to do? It's crazy when you run your own show, you make people make an enemy out of you.
Yeah.
When it's like, I can't put 1 million people on the show. And now I have a little open mic that I run. Anyone can sign up. No stress on me. I'm not gatekeeping. Like you want to be a vicious gatekeeper.
No,
I want to be a guy that just opens the door and just says everyone come in. I don't want to rule anyone out.
Yeah, no, it's actually really frustrating because I don't like that kind of trading favors. Like it just makes me feel awkward.
Oh yeah.
And it like I do like open mics because it is like, yeah, just come to the mic and write your name on it. But even with that, I feel like people turn it into a thing and they're like, you know what I mean? They want to be first. They want to, and I just like, just be not bugging me.
Yeah. I mean, there is times where like, for me going to open mics, like I love that I've got to the point where some places will let me go on earlier. And I think that's a rite of passage. I think when I was new and I would see like, I remember, I don't know if you know who Ryan Long is. He's in New York now, but he's doing very well.
Yeah.
And when I was new, he was still hitting the shitty open mics, which was like so cool and inspiring to say like one of the best guys in town is still going to the worst open mics in town. And if you're one of the best guys in town right now and you stop doing open mics, like why? You know what I mean? I like it's a good reason for me to not stop slacking on open mics. I want to still hit them up, you know. But seeing somebody be able to just come in and get right on because it's like, oh, you're the man in town, you know, get right on. Now I'm not saying I'm the man in town, but I feel like I'm getting to a point where I do good enough for long enough that people can say, if I walk into the open mic, they say, hey, you know, we'll put you out on the next couple.
Yeah. Well, like I like to have my first few people be headliners because I want the room to start really strong.
Yeah. And
then headliners tend to have like other things happening in a night so that I'm more accommodating if like they're coming in the middle or something like that.
Yeah.
But that's just like, I feel like everything I do also is like in service of the room.
That's great. That's a great way to be. I see some people, I won't name names, but I see some people that they'll say like, oh, no bumps allowed, no bumps allowed. I was like, do you hate your audience? Do you hate comedy? Like, let bumps happen. Also, if people are mad about bumps, then just quit comedy. Because like, if you don't like bumps, like fucking, then you don't want to get to the point where you're the one getting the bumps. So like,
and I think sometimes people, without realizing it, they'll like want to critique like the way things are, but it's just like, you're an open mic comedian. It just isn't like a beautiful, you know what I mean? Like, it's a hardworking time in your life, and you don't want to like perfect this scene. You want to get out of this scene by doing well in it.
Yeah, strive to be the person that's getting the bumps in 3 years or whatever. You know?
Yeah.
Like, or however long it takes you, because it is like, don't let me work hard for 4 years and then tell me once I'm get to the point where I get bumps that we're not allowed bumps anymore. What the hell? I want bumps.
So I kind of think of you as like the guy from the corner.
Okay.
So what's been your experience over there?
Oh, the corner. So I have so much love for the corner. It's actually the first open mic I did in Toronto. The way they used to do the open mic was on Monday nights. It'd be like a 3 or 4 hour show. There'd be like, it would start at 7. I think it would go till like 11:30, 12. So like almost a 4 hour show. You'd get there at like 5:30, 6 p.m. and be in this huge ass line to sign up for all these spots and everything. Everyone would do like maybe 5 minutes. Anyways, so that was the first mic I did in Toronto, and the first time I did it went really good. And Joe liked me. He's the guy that runs the club. But it wasn't that I just like started getting like good spots right away. I had to hit the open mics a bunch. And there used to be Nitish would run one night, Paul Thompson would run one night, Ernie, JJ. There was a bunch, Kyle. There was a bunch of guys that like are like the corner boys, like the original guys that would have their own night of the week, like Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, whatever. And all those guys liked me enough to say like throw me on once or twice a month, whatever, right? So I was at the corner almost every night of the week sometimes.
Oh, wow.
Except for the weekends, because the weekends was like their pros that they booked. So when I was new, my first couple of years, like I just tried to be at the corner as much as I could. Like if I could, Ernie gives me one spot one week. Nitish used to give me, shout out to Nitish. I think he gave me more spots than anyone else. And he's in LA right now killing it. So another great guy to look up to. But
shout out Nitish.
He blessed me so much when I was new. Same with Paul and JJ here and there too. And Kyle. So like all these guys would put me on. And then eventually I was there enough that Joe was like, all right, let's start giving this guy weekend spots. So I think like I started getting weekend spots like maybe 2 years into comedy. Like not a lot, maybe like one here and there or whatever. But at least it was like cool to get on. And I remember my first weekend spot there. They're a bit longer sets. They're full rooms. Like it is a little more pressure than I was used to on a regular weekday spot. And Nitish has like crazy weed, and I smoke weed every day, but I smoked a blunt with him outside and I got too high and I went up there and I definitely didn't smash my first time on the weekend.
Oh, fuck.
I was like, oh shit, I'm too high up here. So yeah, but overall my experience with the corner has been amazing.
Can we just, I haven't smoked weed since I was a teenager. What's it like being too high on stage?
I think we already probably overanalyze ourselves when we're up there if like things aren't going well, but like I think just being high adds like an extra level to it of like oh, I'm crashing right now. Oh, like it's a little more scary than it is to just be soberly bombing. So if you smoke weed and you're killing it, then it might just be a fun high. But if you smoke weed and the first joke doesn't hit, that's gonna be a long set.
It sounds like a nightmare.
My first like bunch of sets were all high. But Natish's weed is just different than mine. I smoke like mid shit that I can just chain smoke. His is like one of his blunts will knock me on my ass. So I definitely wouldn't recommend that. Now after my like early days of the corner, like the one now I love doing the corner. It's my favorite club in town. It's the new location is sick. Like I love how it's like the decor, the way it's wide, like the vibe in there. I feel so comfortable there.
It's a very cool vibe.
Was that your first time doing it this past week?
No, I've done it a few times.
Okay. And what do you think?
I love it. It's it's like what a comedy club should be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's sick. And for me, looking at the guys that are like doing well in the States right now, I mean, I don't know everyone that came through Yuck Yucks and Absolute, but it looks like the guys that are doing the best came from the quarter. So it feels like a good place to be. It feels like the right place to be if you want to like end up thriving. Che Durena, Ryan Long, Nitish Sakuja, they're all Danny Martinello. They're all doing like work in the States now, So it's cool to like look up to those guys that I saw at the corner being like, they were already the man when I started. You know what I mean? So that's years ago, and now like they made the jump over to the States. Yeah,
it's really cool. Like I'm still early, but it's cool seeing people who are making the leap. Mm-hmm. Like I had Tamara Siobhan on here, and she was just talking about like, I don't know, like she'd just been on TV and she's like going on tour, and it's kind of like you notice like when people are like leveling up, and it's, I don't know, it's exciting to be connected to people like in the next phase.
I'll tell you the exciting thing that happened for me this week, and also my podcast related. Shout out to my podcast, Uncut Jams. I just started Uncut Jams.
I love it.
Uncut Jams because I have a gambling problem, and I used to go by Jam Easy. I don't know if you knew that, but
no, I do know that, but we have not mentioned that on the show.
No, okay.
But it was also when you picked your drink.
Yeah, I picked this drink because it says "Jam up the mash."
Yeah.
And honestly, drink not that great, but but because it's a sour. I'm not a big fan of sours, but I do like the name, and I even like the guy on it.
Oh,
looks pretty cool.
Yeah, he's very cool.
So, I started this podcast, Uncut Jams, and I'm 3 episodes in, and you probably know, podcasts are hard to grow.
Yeah.
Some of the numbers can be a little demoralizing when you. I might not even want to look at the numbers sometimes about how many people are listening or watching, but sometimes the clips do well. And the first week of the podcast, my opening thing, I'm like talking about how I just really like Juicy J. He's my favorite rapper, and I've never met anyone else that favorite rapper is Juicy J. Anyways, I cut this clip together about how I went to his concert one time, I got too drunk, whatever. I posted the clip, and Juicy J shared it, which was like so cool. That was episode 1. Now episode 2, nothing happened. Episode 3, I was talking about there's this as a comedian who's trying to do it the independent way, making your own shows, not like I don't really have many people helping me. It's like it's a lot on my own back trying to do these things. Anyways, there's this rapper called La Russell, and he's not like a huge name. He's grown a decent following, but I started seeing his stuff on Instagram maybe 3 or 4 years ago, maybe 5 at this point. But I saw that he had built a stage in his own backyard and was just holding concerts in his own backyard. That's what caught my eye about this guy. I'm like, that's so sick. He's just like, all right, I'm not gonna fuck with a venue. I'm just gonna make my house the venue. And he would have these afternoon concerts. He said built the pergola. Pergola is like whatever, the stage with like a little covering on the top. Anyways, very cool and inspiring. And he has these songs about like the struggle of being an independent artist. And one of his songs is called GT Coupe. And I posted a clip of me talking about the song. And he's coming to Toronto in July. And he saw the clip and he posted a comment, open for me. And he DMs me his number.
Oh, fuck off.
And I called him and I'm like, yo, La Russell, this is crazy. And he's such a great guy, like such a nice, humble guy, like such a cool guy to look up to. Like he's been inspiring me. I didn't want anything out of this. I was just talking about how his lyrics inspire me. It was like talking about the song that I was talking about. It's like, this is the type of shit they don't show when there's only 5 people at your show. And it's just like about how it makes you feel bad that you let people down. But it's like, you can only let down yourself. Anyways, it's just nice. Look up the song GT Coupe. But the thing is, the guy, I talked with him on the phone. I'm like, man, I don't know if your crowd's going to want to hear comedy off the top. But he's like, I've done it back home. He's like, just don't fuck it up. I'm like, all right, let's go. So this is like,
that's so good.
I know it's not like opening for a big comedian or anything, but to me, this is like the coolest thing I've ever got to do. It's really cool. So I've been really excited about that. It's not till July, but it's July and it's at 2 p.m. because he does like a lot of afternoon shows. That's what his whole thing has been on the come up. So
we should get a bunch of people to go to it.
Please, come through. It's July 26th at the Rec Room. So I'm in Toronto. I'm really looking forward to that. But 2 p.m. opening up a hip hop show, not ideal for comedy. I'll say that. The odds feeling a little stacked against me to have a great set.
I don't know. I feel like people will be more sober, and that's actually good for comedy because there's more tension, and then you get people laughing, and then you're like waking them up to party.
Hell yeah. I'm going to wake them up to party. I'm so excited. Shout out to La Russell. What a great guy. What a great guy. Honestly, when he DM'd me his number, I'm like, this is amazing. I felt like it was a dream. Like it was very surreal because I've just been watching him blow up. Like I saw him when he was like not that big. And then to see him, he has like over 1 million followers now. Like not huge, but like respectable. Like from what he's done just out of his backyard. It's so cool. Anyway, very excited about that.
I like the idea of backyard. I was just had Marlena on here. We were talking about the backyard show she did during COVID. There's something so beautiful about like intimate venues and like that personal touch.
Oh yeah, it is very cool. Yeah. People like that was like something that the downside of the pandemic, all the bars closed. The upside of the pandemic, it made people have to get creative with all these spaces, like Marlena making her backyard show, the rooftop comedy show we did. When Ben Bankus did like his park shows, which helped like blow him the fuck up.
I don't know about this. Ben
so
Bankus.
He did one at Christie Pitts. And,
okay. I think I heard about the Christie Pitts shows and I just didn't know it was Ben's.
Oh, it was crazy. It was crazy. Huge crowds. And I remember like he got fined, but then a bunch of like comedians like in the States like heard about it and like did a GoFundMe, made all this money. Like it got his name out like what do you call it? Desperation breeds ingenuity or whatever. It was just one of those times where people made lemonade out of lemons.
That's awesome.
It was really cool to see like all these different things. Darren Burke, he had his dungeon comedy. I don't know if you met him.
Oh fuck yeah, I did comedy in the dungeon one time.
You did?
It was pretty scary.
You did
it? I didn't know Darren. I was like, is this guy a murderer?
Well, the fact that you've only been doing it 2 years, you probably missed the good times of the dungeon. There was like times where the dungeon was like it was like a fire comedy club.
Yeah. It was not like when I did it was just like
a couple comedians doing push-ups.
Like it was like 10 people, but it was like kind of just like, okay, we're getting another mic in on a Tuesday.
Right. No, there was a little time where the dungeon was lit. So nice. Yeah, it was cool. All the different people that came up with different ways to get our sets in. Shout out to everyone that did that because it was appreciative as a comedian having mics to hit. You know?
Yeah. Do you feel like things got harder or easier after the? Like, what do you think of, like, sort of how the scene has changed overall in the years you've been doing it?
It was harder before. And maybe it's just because I was new. But also, I think post-pandemic, the new comedians that started things up and the vibe of everyone just being appreciative to be out, it made mics better. Because when I was new, a lot of times you'd go to mics and it would be like 3 people listening and 10 comics in the back talking and not giving a fuck. And it was tough to try and find out if your jokes work when no one's paying attention.
Yeah.
There were certain rooms that I'd go that I felt so not welcome in. Because the people there, like, I didn't have, I mean, like, I'm nice to everyone, but like, I guess not everyone liked me, but like, it definitely made me feel not welcome. And there's certain ones that I didn't get banned from them, but I banned them from me. I'm like, this is just, it's not helpful for me. It's not doing me any service being there. But those are the ones that I would, if I did good 5 days in a row or something, I would be like, all right, I'm going to go to that one that I feel like everyone hates me at and just talking to a mic with no one listening and really hate myself after.
It seems crazy to me that anyone would hate you. Like you seem like you make friends everywhere.
I appreciate that. And yeah, I think I am like a pretty nice guy. I think like sometimes I say wild shit on stage, I guess, but I feel like I say it with a nice tone of voice and a nice look on my face enough to be like, hey guys, obviously I'm joking.
Yeah, because you'll do something like when, I don't even remember, like, but I've seen you like when you're hosting a mic and you sort of like rip people, but it's really like good natured. Mm-hmm. Like it's making people laugh, but it's not, there's no biting. Like,
yeah, I'm not trying to ruin anyone's day. So I don't know, if you do hate me, and you probably just hate yourself and just get over it. Like when self-love
is the path to whatever.
Yeah, just work on yourself and then put me on your show. I think like, I don't know if I do feel like if people haven't put me on their show for whatever reason, they don't like me, they probably hate their audience too, because audience seems to like me. Anyways, that was,
you heard it here first. Producers who don't book James
hate their
themselves,
audience,
hate their audience, and hate America.
God bless it. I take my hat off, put my start humming the national anthem. Do you love America?
I do love America.
So do I. Let us in, Trump.
Like, I love Canada, and I always want to be a Canadian. I just think, like, you grow up in Canada. I'm a huge movie fan, TV fan,
right.
And it's just something fun. Like, even I went to Austin in October, and I didn't get on Kill Tony. I didn't get on the Mothership mic.
Okay.
But like, it was so fucking cool. I'd never been in Texas before, and I was just like, I don't know. Sometimes I just love just like being in America. Like it's such a, I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about.
I love American pride. Like the way they have pride in themselves and in America. This thing's not working, but yeah, I love like how much pride they have in themselves. Like everyone that's upset about Trump trying to take over Canada. Like I know like that would be a crazy thing to happen, but at the same time, I've never met people with so much Canadian pride. Like people that the way their anthem hits is better than the way our anthem hits.
Yeah. They have a cooler anthem, but I also think I like Canada's attitude towards our country.
You like it?
Yeah. Like, do you know how it's like you can like someone in something else but still want to be the way you are?
Okay.
Like, I love America because they're bigger than
larger
than life.
Yeah.
But I like that Canadians have like a chill vibe.
I like that we're chill. I like that we're nice and like friendly mostly. So that's cool. But I think Americans are pretty friendly too. I don't know.
Okay, so I used to be sort of embarrassed. I didn't want Americans to think Canadians were like hokey or that we all had that accent. And then I was just like, I just changed about that over the years. And I was recently watching the premiere of Manitoba in a clip. And I was like, I like people who are the stereotype of Canada. Like that almost hokey friendliness. And like, it's hard to explain. Like, it's not the coolest thing to be, but it's the best thing to be.
God bless Canada.
God bless Canada.
Yeah, you won me over. You know what? Canada's so sick. It was just my headphones weren't working at the time. It got me all scrambled in my brain. I started thinking America's the best. But I do think America's pretty sick. But Canada's great too. We're really blessed to be in one of the best countries in the world. And that's the truth.
For sure. For sure. Have you ever been anywhere really north?
I mean, I've been in Newfoundland. Is that north or is that just east?
It's east, but I also think it's north.
Yeah, Newfoundland's great. Newfoundland is so sick.
Did you do comedy in
Oh
Newfoundland?
yeah. 2 years in a row. We're gonna go every year for the triple decker comedy. We're making that an annual stop for sure because Newfoundland, the crowds are great, the people are great, the place. I was gonna say the country, but I'm just like the look of it, the scenery is great.
It's kind of its own land.
Have you been?
In childhood, I haven't been anywhere on the East Coast as an adult, but I have amazing memories.
The people there are so gracious and so generous. One of the shows we did there this year, there was.
You seem like you would be an East Coaster.
I felt okay. So I've been all the way to Vancouver and all the way to the East, and for me, where I feel like I do the best in comedy is the East Coast. I feel like my vibe is very that really vibes well with them.
I really want to go on tour so I know where I fit in.
Yeah, where do you think?
I don't know.
Where'd you grow up?
London, Ontario.
London, Ontario. Okay.
One year, Spotify told me I have the music taste of someone from Victoria, BC.
Okay. I could see you being a BC girl.
I lived in Vancouver, but I felt like I didn't fit in there.
I've had a great time on the West Coast, but Vancouver, I mean, the last time I was there, I did good, but I definitely felt like I didn't fit in as well there as I did on the East Coast for sure.
Yeah.
I also love Montreal just as a place.
Fuck. Yeah. I'm not cool enough that I think I would fit in Montreal, but I do. That's just one of our coolest towns.
I had to stay there. I was doing another job, so I was out there for a month, maybe a little over a month, and I was doing comedy a lot. And when I went out there, I only had maybe 5 shows booked, but every time I went on a show, people were liking me a lot. They're like, "Oh, come do my show, come do my show." I felt like the prettiest girl in town. I never got that treatment anywhere else. That every time I went to do a show, comedians were like, "Come do my show." Come. I ended up doing comedy almost every night of the week that I was there. I went out there with 5 shows. I ended up doing like almost every night. It was so cool and so welcoming.
Yeah.
Montreal, a great scene to do comedy.
Actually, you know what I remember when I was in my 20s and I'd be in Montreal, we always had good party nights. We always made like lots of friends.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so yeah.
Yeah, good food too. Poutine, smoked meat. They got it all. They got what more do you want? Can I ask how old you are?
44.
Jeez.
Yeah. How old are you?
36.
How are you feeling about your age?
Better than 44.
I had the realization the other day I'm closer to 50 than to 30.
That's crazy, yeah.
And then I'll sometimes talk to people in comedy who are worried about their 30th birthday, and I'm like, shouldn't be. It's not a big deal.
Most people are surprised that you're over 40, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I wouldn't have guessed that.
Yeah.
So good job.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. Like, how do you feel about being over 40? Does it suck?
It's actually, it's like, I don't like it, and I'm worried about the future, but also like, I feel like my life was really hard up to like 35.
Oh, why?
And I had an anxiety disorder and a drinking problem. So some of it's mental health, but I also just think people in general, like, you just learn how to do life.
Were you married before?
No.
No kids?
No.
And you stopped drinking when?
35.
But you just have beers in the fridge just cause?
Yeah. Well, those are for my guests.
That's so nice. What a great host. Check out the Karen Mitches podcast.
I also like enabling other people's drinking.
Fair. Yeah, because I told Karen, I'm like, oh, I took the month off, and I was going to try and not drink today, but then she's like, well, you should have a beer, pussy. So, okay, fine. Yeah, that's good. So you're not tempted?
No. Sometimes, like, I feel like more like when I don't worry about relapsing with drinking, but I worry about, like, my mental health falling apart.
Okay.
And then that I would relapse with drinking.
Can we talk about rock bottom? Or is it too dark?
I had like
what made you make the change?
I had an intervention, but it was like a really chill one, like where just one of my siblings approached me and then was sort of like, you know, if you wanted to do rehab. My brother's wife is a social worker, and she does she used to do inpatient rehab for teens. And so Liz was like, Lisa would like walk you through everything.
Right.
And then when I did it, like, she drove me to the play, at least my sister-in-law.
Was it hard to convince you, or were you just like, yeah, you're right? Or were you like I'm a fun drunk. What are you talking about?
Okay, I was a Valentine's Day drunk, so people weren't mad at me, but they'd see me just show up places and immediately pass out.
What's really a Valentine's Day drunk? Sorry.
Like I get really sentimental and just be like, James, you're my best friend. So I wasn't like yelling I did sometimes get aggressive, but like for the most part, I hadn't done things people were mad about. They were just worried about me. And I just had like 3 years though of like, I thought there was an intervention around every corner. So when it found me, I was like, I'm just like really tired and really done.
Yeah, you were ready for the intervention. You're like, finally, I thought you guys didn't care about me. What the hell? What took you so long to intervene with me?
So they also say, like, when you make a big decision in life, you're technically making it subconsciously for years before you actually make it. So when you're ready to do it, it's easy. Okay. But it's not, because otherwise you would have just done it right away. But there's these like moments where you're like, you commit yourself to something, but that commitment is easy because it's the drive to do it has been building inside of you. You've been like on a spiritual level, like making yourself ready for it. And then it's just like resigning yourself, and then you're in it.
Fair. Well, I'm happy you found it.
Thank you.
And shout out to your sister that brought you to... do you believe in God?
I don't like calling it that because I don't like to think of it as like a human personality.
Fair.
But yeah.
You believe in it. You believe in something.
Yeah.
Fair.
And like more and more, I think like once like you get sober, you have to rely more on like your emotions, your spirituality to like guide you. So then you become more having a sense of like things being faded, and like bad things are going to happen, but then maybe like when bad things happen, also good things happen at the same time. And like things like God sends you a friend or something that will help you at the moment. So I don't know. I just have much more of like that kind of way of seeing things.
Fair enough. I think, whatever it is. I just think the key to, this is what I've been coming to recently, is that the key to happiness is just being grateful. Wherever you are, whether it's being grateful to God, whether it's being grateful to the universe, whatever you want to call it, like just finding something to be thankful for, even on a bad day. Even on a bad day, just be grateful that you had a bad day, because then you can appreciate good days more.
Yeah.
Last year, I felt like I was a little negative, and I spent too much time not being grateful. So at the end of last year, I'm like, I'm gonna be more grateful in 2025. And within the first month, I did have a tough first week because I stopped smoking weed and I stopped drinking, and I got depressed, and I was like, oh, there's nothing to be grateful for. I hate myself. I hate my life. But then time rolled on, and I feel like, yeah, I just try and end every day. I personally thank God, but like whatever you want to thank.
But
just
I
being
like
grateful
that. Do you have a prayer?
I don't have a prayer. I have a song.
Is it a rap song?
No, I have a song that I don't do this song every day, but this is like when I was like in my years of depression, I made this song up, and it's just me. I'll sing it. Do you want me to sing it?
Yes, please.
It's so lame, but like it is like just giving a shout out to God, okay, and just talking about how I have everything I need. Okay, so I say, I am strong, I am empowered. God gives me all I need to fulfill my destiny, using God's light to shine me the way. That's it. And then
I love it.
Using God's light, you just get the choir in. Yeah,
I love that. I was reading this book, and it was talking about like a potential origin for human speech is that we initially started praying, or not praying, singing together with other people, and that it's like monkeys and primates can't make the sounds that we can make, and that why did our bodies change to be able to make these sounds, and that it may have been like humans gathering together in groups singing, and then that it's like, so our initial basis is through like almost like a joint worship.
Singing started before talking.
Yes.
That's cool. Is that true?
It's one of the theories.
That's crazy.
And I do think like humming, singing, they're very profound things in terms of like calming you down and making you feel good.
Yep.
And I think anything like you need to like transcend through or with, you have like rituals, like things you perform.
I love it. I got to look into that, because I think that's pretty funny if we started singing before we started talking.
It makes sense though. Like, don't babies sing?
Do they? What song?
Like a kind of baby sing.
Can you give me an example of a baby singing?
No.
I'm trying to like they go I don't know. I'm just trying to think of babies, and I feel like their first couple words are just like mama, dad.
Yeah, maybe I'm making that up.
Yeah, but to think that everyone was singing, and then eventually one guy was just like, "Hey guys, can we just talk?" And they're like, "Whoa, what is this guy doing? What the hell? You're so offbeat right now."
I kind of think like I would have liked to have been born into a culture like, you know how like indigenous cultures that have powwows and that like a heavy drum and dancing as our spirituality. Yes.
There's a rumor that I might have a little native in me.
Yeah.
I would love to find out, but I don't want to do an ancestry.com. But basically my mom's grandma, or maybe either her grandma or great grandma. Basically,
yeah.
There's rumors that her dad might have secretly been a native, that they just didn't tell.
Yeah.
Like the family just never was like open and honest about it, kind of thing. But if you look at pictures of her, like definitely seems like there's a little Indian in the cupboard, you know?
I want to do 23. Is that 23andMe, the ancestry?
Yeah, one of those ones.
But I feel like a lot of my siblings and cousins are like paranoid. I feel like people would get mad at me.
Yeah, no, people have made me paranoid, but I am a paranoid guy. So I'm just like, I don't know. It's not like I'm out there committing crimes or anything, but I'm like, for some reason, I just don't want the government to have my blood sample.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And sometimes like there's mystery kids. You know, people had a kid and didn't tell anyone, and then that comes back.
I think that'd be kind of cool.
Yeah.
To find out that I have like a brother.
Yeah. Imagine you found out somebody you already knew was your cousin.
Oh, hopefully I didn't fuck them. But I actually used to. Okay, so growing up, I I didn't fuck white girls very often, and that was one of the reasons. Was my cousin kind of brainwashed me against them, but another reason is I was just paranoid that I'm like, what if I accidentally fucked like a distant cousin?
How did your cousin brainwash you against?
So I didn't know this at the time. So when I was in maybe grade 6 or 7, he just kept telling me like, white girls, they're no good. He's like, he was like all about like Asian girls. That's what he was like, you gotta like Asian girls. Trust me, white girls are bad people. I'm like, what the hell? I'm a little kid hearing this. I didn't know any better. I didn't find out till like years later, till I'm a grown up, that the reason I was getting this speech in like grade 6 is because at that time his white girlfriend had like cheated on him with his best friend, and he was just like in his emo phase of like feeling bad about the breakup, and he totally brainwashed me. And then so like in elementary school I was just all about Asian girls, and then in high school black and brown girls. I was actually like I'm in Brampton, and I'm like one of the first white guys that was just all about fucking brown girls, and people used to call me James Brown. That was a nickname, James Brown. It was all about the brown girls.
So were you growing up in Brampton when it was like sort of changing?
Yeah. So oh yeah. Like I do. We definitely had a lot of different cultures, but it became more and more just brown from the time I went from like elementary school to high school to like early 20s. Then it was like all brown pretty much. Yesterday I did a show in Brampton for a Hindi speaking audience, and do you know Hassan Chaudhry?
Yeah.
So he tells me, he's like, come to the show, and he shows me the poster. I'm like, are they even speaking English? And then he didn't even respond. He just said, I need you, man. I was like, okay. And then I get there and no one's speaking English. And when he introduced me, he's like, okay, we have a white guy coming on next. And like they didn't like clap or anything, right? Like, oh man. And then as I just opened up, I'm like, yeah, I don't know why I'm here either. And they started laughing at that, whatever. Made some I had a good like opening, good ending. Definitely had some awkward parts in the middle. I asked them if they had any roommates, and they said no. And I'm like, oh, that's crazy. You guys must be the other Indians, because all I'm hearing about is that there's like 13 of you guys living in one house kind of thing. But apparently that whole crowd, none of them had roommates.
Did they like it when you said that?
They didn't like that part. So I definitely had some awkward silences, but beginning and ending was good, so we went home happy.
Nice. Okay. Well, I've really liked having you on, James.
Yeah, it was fun.
I feel like I want to replug your show in July.
Oh yeah, so I'm going to be opening for La Russell July 26th. Also, check out my podcast, Uncut Jams. You can follow me on Instagram at James Come On Now. And yeah, I just do shows all the time. If you see me on Instagram there, I'll be posting where my shows are at.
Okay, thanks so much, James.
Thank you.